All right, family, let's jump right in. Dear Dr. Dandridge, my daughter stopped speaking to me months ago after a fight that escalated. I replay our last conversation over and over, imagining different endings, wishing I could fix it. It's painful to know she's alive, yet emotionally unreachable. I think a lot of parents can relate to this today. I feel an emptiness that friends tell me will fade, but it doesn't. How can I grieve the relationship I've lost while still holding on to hope that we can reconnect? Wow. I think a lot of parents experience this separation from their children at some point. At some point, I think all parents realize that your children, they are still your children, they are still your babies, but they are no longer those 2 year olds, those 4 year olds, those 12-year olds that you had certain relationship with or a certain level of relationship with. The truth of the matter is that we grieve past relationships because of how they made us feel. What's interesting is that you said that your daughter stopped speaking to you months ago after a fight escalated. Instead of going back and replaying the escalated fight, I want you to go back and replay the relationship that you and your daughter had before the fight. This is why. I believe that if you start there, you'll be able to find some connection point that you and your daughter had previously that now you can utilize to build a bridge to get back to the place where, like you said, you feel as though your daughter is emotionally unreachable. You can't reach her. You can't reach her by trying to replay what broke apart your relationship in the past. You have to reach her by way of some level of connection that you all had inside of the past. You've got to find some kind of common ground. I see this a lot as a hospice chaplain, people that are emotionally disconnected. But what I've learned is if you can find that point of connectivity, if you can find that bridge maker, if you can find not the missing piece, but the piece that matters most between the two of you, that will become the segue into reestablishing, rebuilding, and reconnecting. You said inside of your letter, I wish, I replay our last conversation over and over, imagining different things, wishing I could fix it. Mom, you can't fix everything. And this might be something that you cannot fix. It may be something that you can mend, but it may be something that you cannot fix. What's the difference? Fixing it means that it goes back to operating the same way that it did before, and things are just back to normal. That might not be the case here. Instead of trying to fix it, first start with mending it. Try to find something that can at least get the conversation going to where you might still have those feelings of animosity, you might still have those escalated feelings of anger, but at least they're palatable. Okay? To get to your question, you said, how can I grieve the relationship that I've lost while holding on to the hope that we can reconnect? Hope is always contingent on the possibility. We only hope in things because we believe that there's a possibility. You believe that there's a possibility that you and your daughter can reconnect. You believe there's a possibility that you and your daughter can reconcile. You believe that there's a possibility that the fight that escalated can be subsided enough, or you all can come to some kind of common ground enough to where you can at least be amicable towards one another. Make sure that hope is not rooted in selfish intent. In other words, Don't hope for the better relationship for you and your daughter for the sole purpose of you feeling better. Hope for the better relationship between you and your daughter because the mother daughter relationship is what matters to you most. It's the relationship that matters. And a lot of arguments, a lot of these escalated fights happen because there was one person on one side of the relationship and the other person on the other side of the relationship that could not come to terms with something because of I've got my way of thinking and I've got my way of thinking. I've got my way of feeling and I've got my way of feeling. Both sides had some selfishness inside of the fight, which is the reason why it escalated. So if we can de-escalate the selfishness that escalated the fight into what it was that now has you torn apart, I believe that we can really get back to the possibility and the hope of you and your daughter reconciling your relationship. Hopefully that makes sense. I hear what you're grieving. You're grieving the relationship that you had before. I also want you to hear that your relationship might not look the same moving forward. And that's okay, because at least you will have a mother-daughter relationship. Again, part of it is not fixing anything. I think that's one of the biggest things that we struggle with as it relates to grief. We always want to fix what happened. We always want to fix what went wrong. We always want to fix what could have been. Where's my grandmother woulda, coulda, shoulda? It didn't. It couldn't. It wouldn't. It hasn't. Accept reality for what it is. The fight happened. The relationship is torn. There is the hope and possibility that it can get back together, but it's going to have to come back together in a way where both parties, where mom and daughter hear one another in a non-selfish way, and the relationship has to come back together in a way that is not lopsided, to where one person is receiving more than the other out of selfish reason. I will be keeping you and your daughter's relationship in my thoughts. I pray that she is also having this conversation within herself and that somebody's giving her some guidance to say, that is your mother and you don't always have to agree. Listen, parents, you don't always have to agree with your children. Listen, children, you don't always have to agree with your parents. That is a part of adulting. That is a part of being grown. It sounds like the both of you are grown. You didn't say how old she was, but I'm assuming that the both of you are adults. The same way that adults disagree, whether you're related or not related, is the same way how you should handle this. Agree to disagree. Open up the conversation for the opportunity for reconciliation. But as a mother and then daughter, if you are listening, find a point of reconnection. Find that spark, find that thing that connected you in the first place, and see if that amber, see if that can help rekindle what this new relationship, or how this new mother-daughter relationship is going to look moving forward. Okay, hope that this helps out a little bit. Listen, thank you for joining me at my desk. I'm Dr. Dandridge. This has been Designing Your Goodbyes. Do me a favor. I know that if you've made it to the end of this video, that there was some value inside of what was said. And just do me a huge favor. I don't even want you to subscribe. Just like this video. Like this video. Support people who support you. And if you felt supported inside of this brief time that we've had together, just support me by hitting that like button. It really does help out tremendously. I've got another conversation coming up. It's going to be right here. I want you to go ahead and take a look at it, take a listen to it. It might be something inside of there that might be beneficial to you inside of your grief journey. Again, thank you so much for watching. Share this with somebody who might have a distant or strained relationship with their parent or with their child. if you believe that this advice could help them out just a little bit. Again, I'll see you inside the next episode. Go ahead and hit play, and I promise I'll meet you there. Okay.